know, we've had a long-running relationship, long-standing relationship with Florida Southern College. So active in so many different sports and recruiting events and all these types of things. One we, admittedly, shame on us, have not done as much on as we should have is the sport of soccer. Just climbing like crazy in popularity here in the United States. But our next two guests aren't from the United States. No, they're from across the pond in the UK. And Jay, the athlete, center midfielder.
Yes.
I listen.
Yeah.
Is from the Isle of Man. Pretty cool.
I would say probably definitely our first Isle of Man guest.
Ever.
So, yep.
Go ahead, Jack. I'm starting to stumble here.
No, well, and we should introduce Ashley as well. Head coach Ashley Holmes as well.
Yeah.
Both Florida Southern men's soccer.
That was all I could keep in my head at
Thank
one
you.
time. But Isle of Man is something I remembered and will remember. That is pretty cool. Motorcycle racing's big time there.
Yes, yeah, that's the. I think that's sort of the signature event for the. But you can correct me.
It would be, if the Isle of Man's known for anything, it would be the TT, the motorbike race.
Okay.
Yeah, and crazy high insurance rates because of the motorcycle race.
Yes, it is scintillating to watch.
Yeah.
Like, it gets a heart rate up no matter how many times you've watched it.
Before we get too deep in this, Jay, you're a graduate student.
Yes.
What field?
Business analytics.
Really?
Yeah. I graduated in May with a undergrad in marketing.
Okay.
And then thought I'd do business analytics, exciting field. My older sister actually did it.
Okay.
So it was just natural next
At
step.
Florida Southern?
No, back in the UK.
Back
She
in
wasn't
the
that
UK.
adventurous.
Okay, well, I was talking, Ashley, you and I were talking, and here's one for you, everybody. Remember Robin Hood? I do. Man, I just read it every other week. What the heck? You know, Sheriff of Nottingham? He's from Nottingham. Yeah, there's a real place in the UK called Nottingham, and that's where you're from.
That's
How did
true.
you get over? Seriously, I mean, you're obviously, you know, an in-shape, great athlete. How'd you get over here?
Not sure anymore, but
Yeah, swam, right?
yeah, for sure. Originally came back in 2008.
Okay.
Played at Florida Southern, and just been real fortunate to just kind of carry on from volunteer, assistant, now obviously head coach as well. So.
That's really a tribute not only to your playing career, but to your ability to manage. What a lot of people don't understand is a very technical game. I mean, that truly is a testament to your playing skill as well as strategic skills.
Right. Yeah. It's something that I looked at when maybe it didn't work out back home. Trying to go kind of the professional route, kind of the opportunities to come over to America and combine athletics with academics. And now it's, you know, been more increasingly popular. More and more people from different countries around the world come to the United States just because the level of college soccer is just getting better every year.
And does that make your recruiting job a little bit easier, the popularity of the sport growing so much? And then, of course, the professional ranks here in the U.S.?
Probably a little bit harder, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
We've got so many players from all over the world. We've got 19 American players and 15 international players this year.
At Florida Southern?
On the men's soccer team. So we are very international, and then most of the teams in our conference are more international than us. They're, you know, 90-95% of their rosters are just fully international. So it's a very global sport, especially in our league, and it's a league that's very competitive. Wow.
Well, you get a world-class education, and you know, you can play with, you know, some of the top soccer players. I mean, who doesn't want to come to Florida? You know, that has to be an advantage.
That's why we came.
Yeah. Well, you know,
So
there you
I
go.
assume recruiting-wise, then that's a plus, right? So you can basically train year-round.
Yeah,
So.
it's a massive help for us recruiting. You know, obviously we kind of recruit against a lot of mid-major Division 1 schools. That's the sort of quality player we're looking for, and obviously with us being in Central Florida, it just allows us to bring in players that want that quality soccer, quality academics, but then also want to live with palm trees and in the swim shorts 6 times a year.
So main rival is again for Florida Southern is just down a little ways down on I-4 there at UT. So tell us about that rivalry and how you gear up for something like that.
Yeah, it's always one that we look at the start of the year. We kind of circle that as a big rivalry for the program. You know, historically we've kind of been very similar in terms of kind of middle of the table, but it's a game that the guys are always really pumped up for. And this year we play them at home, so hopefully it'll be a good crowd and we'll have a good result.
And you've been in this market now for a while, so because
Yes.
you were a Weber student before you transferred to
correct.
Florida Southern. So this is your 5th or 6th year in the area.
Yeah,
so
5th
you're
year.
catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. What are your plans after you graduate? Do you want to stick around, or do we have to hit him up for a gig on the team? What are your long-term plans?
The team doesn't sound bad, but original plan is just to stay here, see if I can work.
Okay.
I'll get a 3-year work visa when I graduate, so just use that, get all the experience I can. And the quality of life here in the States is amazing. So I'm not sure if I'll stay in Florida or go somewhere else. But
And it is one of the strengths of Florida Southern is how many students do stay. You probably see it with your former players.
Right.
They stay in the area, continue to contribute to the economy here in Lakeland.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah.
And bring a different perspective on business. I know it's been real fun for me over the years to be able to work with people from the United Kingdom, you know, England specifically, or more specifically, and the way, and it was like with Legoland, you know, based in Poole, England, and you know the way they would analyze a problem, or the angle they would take to solve a problem, and you know, if you're a student or out in the workforce, to have that different perspective. And how often have I said, I don't want people thinking just like me. I want people to bring that experience, and don't keep your mouth shut. Speak up, you know, say what you have to say, because that's why we hired you, you know. But I think that perspective is good for you guys, because you kind of see, you know, the way the Americans do it. But then by the same token, you guys have a lot to offer, you know. And from the sport of soccer, I imagine that plays a factor too. I mean, that's if you've ever been to a European soccer match,
No.
nothing like you've ever expected. It is unbelievable. It is.
Yeah.
First one I ever saw was in Belgium. You're looking at me like I'm nuts. That may be the case, but isn't soccer over there just, I mean, it is insanity.
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's like a lifestyle
Yeah.
almost. It's part of your personality, supporting your club,
Yeah,
going out and making a noise.
yeah, it is something over there. I think that's a great way to put it. It's a lifestyle mentality. Yeah.
So I guess then this was the sport you started with and have continued on. Any other sports you're interested in along the way, or?
I played a lot of tennis growing up.
Okay.
Because my dad was massive into soccer, and so he took me down the soccer route. My mum, I think she felt left out. She wanted a sport that she could play with me, and she played tennis as a kid, so I got into that. And it wasn't till 13, 14 when I had to make a choice between the two.
Okay.
And obviously, sitting here now, I chose soccer.
Yeah, but you can play tennis, which will serve you well in business. Now you just need to learn to play golf,
Yeah.
and you'll be in good shape.
And Ashley, I figured that was rugby player first, and then
A little bit of cricket.
A little cricket, really?
You play cricket?
Yeah, a bit of a fast bowler, terrible at batting, but I didn't
Yeah.
mind the bowl.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
There's a little cricket around here.
Yeah, it's
Mainly Asian Americans.
sort of, and over
Indian
on the
Americans or
over on
whatever,
the other
yeah.
side of the county, but I mean, there's some actual cricket pitches, so
Okay.
Yeah.
we've got them.
Yeah, there's a few around. I mean, and Florida Southern is certainly a school that I'm fond of, because I taught there for a bunch of years, and really enjoyed it. And a good faculty over there too. The business program is wow, you know, tremendous, and you know, you're always learning stuff. Heck, sometimes you learn as much from your students as you teach them. But you know, it's all good, right, Jack?
And
St. Leo's coming up too, right?
Ooh. Nah.
Nah, not a problem.
Nah, you don't want to give them compliments.
Okay. All right, but you do have a pretty tough stretch after St. Leo, though, don't you?
Well, our conference, it's really all a tough stretch. Like the
Yeah.
quality of players, because we're in Florida, and the recruitment side of it,
Yeah.
the quality is high.
Okay.
I was going to say you get an awful lot of national champions come out of this
Yeah, this
part of the
conference
country,
is
this conference.
is
Sun
very
Conference.
tough.
Yeah.
Pretty
Is it Sunshine
much.
or Sun Conference?
Sunshine State.
Sunshine State, that's it.
Yeah, the top four teams in our league usually go to the national championships. So our goal is always to try and be kind of in that hunt. And obviously, like you said, we've got a big stretch here. We've got 4 games now with the Hurricane in 10 days against
Yeah.
a lot of good teams. So we're preparing right on and off the field, and hopefully we'll give it a good go.
So a defenseman, when you played, is he more defense-oriented as far as a coach, or?
I would say so. You definitely take on that role,
Yeah.
and then the assistants can do the attacking
Okay.
side.
Okay.
He gets pretty passionate at training sometimes,
Yeah.
defending and heading the ball.
Different sports take different amount of recovery time and all of that type of stuff. So I want to kind of ask you about that. Not kind of ask you. I want to ask you about that. Period. You play a match and you're playing like a lot.
Yeah.
Next day you fine, ready to go, or is it like, oh man, I got to have a day. I need 2 days, a week. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's rough sometimes. The day after is definitely not the best. We'll have training, and if you played major minutes, you'll be on the side doing recovery work, rolling out and stretching.
Yeah.
I'm only 23 years old, and I feel 50, 60 sometimes after a game, which I get reminded that I'm not.
Sport.
Yeah. Jay's a player who will take 2 days off and then get back into training as we
Yeah.
get a little bit closer to the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, the recovery side is something that I think over the years has got more important for the guys, just the load these guys have on a game, the amount of kilometers they're covering. So the recovery is, with the ice baths and the nutrition, the fuel is really important.
And that's probably come a long way since you played, right? So the
Yeah, it's massive. We now track the guys with GPS systems, and we're looking at their load during training, during the game, so we can track all that, and then we can cater training to make sure that we're not overly loading these players on a day-to-day basis, which has been huge.
Yeah. Geez, this has been fun.
yeah.
It's fascinating hearing about
Next
this.
time, 2 segments.
Okay.
We can get more into it.
I've got like 20 questions left out there I'd like to ask them, but that'll be the next time, guys. So we expect you back.
Well, we appreciate you having us.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.